Well, it actually works to 6-15 watts. Yeah. Oh, let me see.
You do 3 of those?
I think so. Now,
You just have one.
I was, I mean, because stickers are technical, so it takes the same vacation to get through.
Very impressed.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Good. Cool.
I'm 10. Don't worry, you sit down and eat. 75. Right. Bye. These are Marley. As long as you're not home. Good, okay. Yeah, unless you got a few bricks of cocaine or fentanyl. Is that your fix? Yeah. No. Your white bounce. Use your shirt. Oh my God. Save this pretty well. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
microphone not on? Speaker's not on though, is it? Can you hear me? Through the speakers? Can I hear the speakers? Oh, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, a little better. All right, everybody got mic check and white balance okay? Everybody good on that? All right, we'll have Coach in here momentarily.
Outside. Not right now. Yeah, he's gonna shoot Maggie's gonna go around when we're done. Third player.
Different than 10 years ago.
I'd like to welcome everyone here to the beginning of the 2022 football season. With practice starting today. Of course, Coach Mark Stoops here, entering his 10th season in Kentucky. It'll be a school record most seasons as a UK football head coach, and enters the season with 59 victories, one shy of Coach Bear Bryant's school record of 60. A couple landmark things to get going, and we'll turn it over to Coach Stoops.
Thanks, Tony. I'd like to first start by acknowledging and just reiterating our support and prayers for the people in Eastern Kentucky and throughout the state and all the people that are affected. Certainly there's people still recovering in Western Kentucky as well, and to just try to help in any way we can. Our team is going to do several things. Really don't want to get into that today, but we're going to do several things to help while we can. You know, we're at a very busy time. But that is certainly at the forefront of what we're thinking about and praying for those folks in Eastern Kentucky. As Tony mentioned, 10 years seems like it's gone by very fast at times and very slow at times. But I'm very privileged to be here for 9 years, going on 10, and really excited about this football team. I really feel like our program is in a position that we're very confident in what we're going to do. I really have a lot of confidence in the staff and greatly appreciate the hard work and dedication that they give, along with our team. Very strong leadership on this team, and that has a lot to do with the foundation of the players in previous years. So I really feel proud of the work that we've done. We certainly know we're far from being where we want to be. We want to continue to climb, continue to push, and constantly grow the program and take steps in a higher direction. And, that's our plan with one day at a time. And I know that gets tired. You guys get tired of hearing about that, and we talk about it often. But I'm going to say it. It's about what we do today. I felt like today was by far the best day one practice we've had in the 10 years that I've been here. But it should be. Our foundation is set in stone, and we have a returning quarterback, and we're able to work with our guys more than we ever had this summer. So we should be further along in day one. But we were. And that's good. And as I mentioned, I really feel good about this team's leadership, but also their work ethic and dedication to what they're doing. And we're off to a really good start. We have an awful lot of work to do. And we, have a tendency to, at this point forward, kind of get into our cave over there, that beautiful cave in the Joe Kraft Center. But get into our cave and do an awful lot of work. We have a lot of work to do in the next month as we prepare for the opener. All right, I'll open it up.
Great. Questions? Mark, any update on Chris's status?
No, I really don't have any comment on Chris's status at this point.
Mark, you're going on 10 years. Is there anything over the last 10 years that you remember fondly?
Oh, I mean, just there's many good moments. Many good moments. I mean, obviously, as I was talking with the team yesterday and with the staff, we in football and probably most businesses, we learn by mistakes. Those scars really stick out to us, and so we tried not to ever let those same mistakes happen again. And I remember a lot of those. so I seem to remember those more than the wins.
Mark, you've had quite a bit of turnover. I guess it's the normal amount in the 10 years you've been here, and yet you keep building successfully. Why is that?
Well, our culture is not going to change. I could go back to year one and all that, but it's true. I mean, there's and you've heard it many times, but it's true. I'm not a big cliche guy, but there's climate and then there's culture. You can change a climate rather quickly, and a culture takes a long time to engrave. And if we do that and we do it correctly, then you could sustain the highs and the lows and the turnover, and whether it's players or coaches or anybody. And so I don't look at it like that. I always look at it like it's an advantage, and I have great respect and appreciation for all the former players and coaches, but it just put us in a position to do what we're doing now.
Mark, you hear a lot of comments about your overall schedule. Other than that, I have
I don't really hear anything about it, but yeah.
Miami is supposed to have one of the best teams coming back they've had in years, and they're going to win their part of the division. And North likewise.
Yeah.
So in the MAC, they're both two strongest teams in the MAC this year.
They're two very good teams, and the two of many good teams on our schedule. And I don't think I ever have to apologize for the schedule that we play in the SEC. Why don't you take a good look at some other leagues?
Carrington's coming back as a junior. He seems like a really important part of y'all's defense. How did you feel his offseason went? You think he's kind of a guy that maybe become the next
Yeah.
star for y'all on the back end?
Yeah, we need him to continue to elevate. We were just in there watching film after our early morning practice this morning, and just some of the things you see him working on day one. He took a lot of good coaching. He's got a lot more confidence. He's playing a lot more patience just in day one. But he certainly would be a guy that should take that next step. We have a lot of confidence in him. I love his attitude. He works hard. He cares, and is working extremely hard. So one day at a time, he'll continue to get better.
You've put a lot of emphasis on length at that position, and then on the opposite side, a lot of emphasis on speed. Do you see that show up on the field?
We do. We feel like, there's definitely some fair questions on both sides of the ball with the skill, in the secondary with the experience and with the wide receiver and position. And, we definitely needed to get some length. And really the guys we brought in all have good length with Kedron, and Jordan, and then, Alex Safari's a guy that we're really high on too, with this great size, and he's very versatile. Just seeing some things early in him that I really like, and so we really feel like we're getting the length that we're looking for there. And of course, at the wide receiver position, everybody's worried about that, but I really feel good. I really do. I feel with Dane and DeMarcus and Tavion, they give us the right amount of experience and playmaking ability. Obviously, Dane being very young, but being here in the spring, picks things up very quickly. Tavion having very good experience, and I feel like DeMarcus is going to take another step. But then you look at the other guys, and you got Christian Lewis, I feel really good. You got DeKal coming back at full strength. Barrion showed up today already. And, of course, Chauncey's really, really strong. And then you got the young guys that could just absolutely fly with Jordan and Brandon. And so I really feel like there's a really good mix there and some really good quality.
Well, Alex, when you're so versatile, what do you do with the young guys so they don't drown?
Well, it's always been my philosophy, like going back 25 years. When I get a big, versatile guy, I always want to start him at corner. So I want to teach him those man principles and put him in the hardest position. Corner is one of the very hardest positions as far as application. And just playing that position is difficult. And who has the talent to do it? And so early on, one practice, but I feel he does. And that gives us the big corner that we're always looking for. And but also getting them on the field is something you got to think about. And we always talk about that medium nickel position. We would like to, as we get more versatile, play some man, do some different things, you got to have a good cover guy at that position as well. So it's not necessarily a hybrid, nickel Sam linebacker. You got to have a guy that can cover. So we're exploring there to continue to develop, continue to help our defense.
Whether or not that part of the attraction to him was his coverage ability?
Yeah, Zion just experience. Very, very a lot of experience and good football players. Got a lot of snaps under his belt.
Mark, whether or not you guys spend any time in the season without Chris, how do you feel about the rest of that position? The rest of the
We feel just fine about it. We feel like there's some really solid players there that are have a chance to break out and do some really good things. And all those guys, Lavelle, Jatan, Cavassier, Ramon, the new transfer, Michael Drennan. I mean, all those guys we have confidence in.
How big a deal was it for Jordan Anthony that he didn't go to Columbia this week in terms of if he's going to make an immediate impact?
Yeah, I mean, it just says where his head's at, and I want the best for the young man. He's special, and he leads speed, and in this world, down with name, image, and likeness, and a lot of things, he's leaving a lot on the table by staying here and being with the team, and we appreciate it and want him to do what he wants to do and want him to get to work.
Mark, with expectations.
Level with the offensive tackle position.
I feel very good. DeAndre's been very steady there. We have a great one, Keontae, backing him up. Jeremy's done a really good job on the other side along with David. David Woolenbaugh has been a pleasant surprise, and doing a really, really, solid job. So we are thin at the offensive line. Josh Jones is out as well. He's been off and on, with injury his whole time here, really, and it's too bad for him. But he'll have a procedure done where he will be out for the year, and that he hasn't played much for us, but it's depth that we need at that position. So we'll be looking at.
Does the standard that's been set here, like 5 offensive linemen drafted in the last 4 drafts, the big blue wall and kind of the legacy, does that give guys something to shoot up? Does that lift that room?
I mean, again, that's the standard that we've created, the culture that we have. They understand that and know that, and this group really works extremely hard. They put their head down and go to work, and it's anchored by a pretty solid fellow there, and Eli in the middle, and Kenneth has an awful lot of experience, and bringing Tayshawn in, Manning is a big help, and Jagger's really progressing extremely well. I'm very happy about him. So we have the right amount of guys to play to get that rotation that we like inside and outside, but we don't have a lot of depth, with some injuries and different things. So we got to continue to recruit and bring guys in that area.
Can you talk about the quarterbacks behind the wheel?
Yeah, Deuce and Kaya, they'll be battling out for the backup position. I think both of them have taken a really big jump this summer and have worked really hard, and they both have shown signs, and we'll let them continue to play. We have a lot of time till our first game, and everybody will make a big deal about that, but to us, we'll just practice one day at a time and see where we're at and make a decision on that later.
Mark, is Isaiah Cummins healthy again, and what did you see from
His position changed last year, and do you think you can elevate with the new
tight end front the offense?
Yeah, I think he's going to make a big difference, and just seeing him out there today already caught my eye because he missed all spring. So it was nice having him back out there, that's for sure. When you put the top 3 wideouts in there that I just talked about, and Tavion and DeMarcus and Dane, and then you put him in the mix, that's a pretty good group. And so he's full strength and going at it, and for him to stay healthy.
Mark, one position on your whole team that you don't have any question about is linebacker. How excited are you about that position? If you had Weaver and White, how do you get enough snaps to put 4 or 5 of those guys on the field at once?
Well, outside won't be hard because we have some really good young players there, but with Jordan and JJ back at full strength, I know having JJ back, he played obviously all last year, but it was short time after having an ACL, and those of us that have gone through that, that's tough. But him being a year further removed from that and healthy will make a big difference in his play. And the same with Jordan, back a little heavier, got full strength going at it. And then, we feel like we have some young players there, and Noah Matthews, Keaton Wade, and Tyrese Fairby. They're all good players, good young guys that have different talents, and we got to bring them along. Inside linebacker, we're really deep with Jaquez and DeAndre anchoring that, but getting D-Jack back at 100%, and then Trevin Wade's a guy we got to get on the field. He's too good of a football player, and the same with Martez, and really Luke's playing well, so we feel like you go 3 deep there inside, which is good because that's a very physical position, and you're going to get banged up.
Has all of the freshmen made it to campus?
Not all.
Mark, with you talking about all the newcomers and people having to step up with at different positions, what does it mean to have somebody like Will with his leadership and experience from last year and just seeing what's going on?
Well, that's it's fantastic. I mean, it's he's a great leader, and starting with his own work ethic. And one of our first principles in leadership is lead yourself, and he certainly does that well. And then he has the impact to affect those close to him, and then get to the point where he's at now with the confidence, with the year under his belt. He affects the entire program and the culture of our program, and everything about him is authentic. And that's really good to see. And I think any of us that have seen people that you could kind of see right through, doesn't take long, and you can't see through him. I mean, because he's real.
How's he handling all the hype that's been going around him? I know you've had some high-level players before, but this preseason hype.
I have no issues with that because he is very motivated. He's very driven, just in his own ability.
Mark, you said today was the best day 1 practice you've seen in 10 years. What did you see specifically today that makes you say that?
Just much cleaner, both sides of the ball, executing, knowing what to do. There were some slight rule changes that allowed us to spend more time with them, so we should be a little further along. So take that with a grain of salt. But, there is growth in the program, and there's strong leadership, and they've worked hard this summer. And I think just overall execution. Obviously, we have a quarterback coming back, and other quarterbacks that have taken quality reps in practice this summer. And just with exchanges, formations, snap count, pre-snap penalties, all that, it was just much cleaner than normal.
You've stressed physicality from day 1. What exactly do you mean by that? Is it more than just being big and strong? And how is this team stacking up in terms of physicality?
Well, I don't know. You could define it how you want it. There's a lot of different ways, but when we put on the film, we have a pretty good idea of what's physical and what's not. Maybe you could go back and watch the TV copy.
Why is it
so
Why is that so important playing in the SEC?
Well, I mean, because endurance, I think you have to be physical, to have consistency, in my opinion. And, that goes across the board. I mean, even as we were touching on it earlier, the length of skill guys and size of skill guys, there's a place for all different sizes, believe me. Let's look at Wandell last year, arguably one of the best players we've had in a long time, and, certainly played extremely big. So, but overall, I mean, it's important to me. It's a foundation that I think we have to have. You want consistency in this league, then I believe it matters.
Mark, you've been coaching, Vince been campaigning to get 3 or 4 tight ends. Can you talk about the difference?
Oh, well,
With that bunch?
well, Vince is always calling for that. It's the only place suggestions he ever makes. So he's doing that. But no, Rich likes it, likes being multiple, so it's a tight end friendly offense, that's for sure. So they should get some action. Sorry, right here.
I've talked to several people around the Southeast in the conference over the summer. But we look at UK now as a destination place, much like Tuscaloosa and Athens. Your thoughts about that now?
I mean, it's my destination, for now, till you boot me out of here. But, I've been here, like I said, 9 years going on 10, so you don't have to sell me.
You ever worried that your players are hearing too many nice things and too big of expectations?
Is Vince struggling to find
The board stuff to put up in there?
You always, toe the fine line there, but our players know that I'm very real with them. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if they're going to hear it, I'm not one of those guys that I look at my calendar and say, okay, this is an ass-kicking day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not. It's not. I would wear it on my sleeve. If we were bad, I'm going to get after them. They were good, I'm going to tell them. I mean, generally right now, you can't pat them on the back too much because there's too much work to be done. I mean, there's just a ton of work to be done. And, we have a lot of work to do as a staff and the players, and there's just too much to do. There's so many situations, you can't possibly get them all. And, but we try to, get our football awareness and football IQ very high, so we play all situations right. But I mentioned that to the team yesterday. I mean, we could play 95% of the game right and play physical and do all those things. But if we play a situation wrong, you lose. So there's a lot of work to do, and that's our focus. So no, I mean, I don't worry about that too much. We're gonna get after them.
Coach, we talked about the tight end room, and then you also talked about Isaiah. I was wondering
If you could speak on Keaton Upshaw coming back from that injury,
where he stands, the role you expect him
in
to
the play this year.
Yeah, it's nice to see Keaton out there. I mean, obviously he's had a couple bad breaks, and hopefully he will stay healthy. He's definitely has that size that we were mentioning earlier, talking about. I mean, he's a big target and very athletic and could do a lot of things for a tight end. He's a complete tight end, so really happy he's out there, and I hope he stays healthy.
Hey, Coach.
The message for the people of Eastern Kentucky right now, so no loss their football fields.
Yeah, it's extremely hard. A message, no. I mean, I talked to Coach Moore and extended our condolences and offered up our services. We're collecting as many things as we can that we're permitted to donate through the football, because their locker room was destroyed and all the things there. But I did mention that to Coach Moore it's devastating. There's mass destruction. I mean, it's horrible no matter where you look at it, but certainly I saw certain clips of their locker room, and they're digging themselves out of that, cleaning themselves up, and I just wanted him to know that we're here to help him and support him and donate things as we can. And again, with the team's going to do a couple different things to help, and we'll continue to do our part. And I guess my only message will be to Eastern Kentucky: continue to stay strong like they are. Those are tough, strong, resilient people. And we're going to do a lot of things to try to help them in the meantime, but we're also going to go out there and play extremely hard and hopefully represent them the right way, that they really have something, in the fall to smile about.
Okay, folks, thank you very much. I have Coach Scangarello in here momentarily.
I love that. Fancy clutch.
Happy seeing you there.
Alex.
Gas prices coming
What's up?
I have a full tank.
No, actually, I'll take 2 beers. We can get off our grill and go live for you. Sure, your whole sports guy. That'd be great. We're gonna double shoot it. I'll light down. I'll light down. I know what
How's everyone doing?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Great.
Questions for Coach?
No questions? This is easy.
How do you like the heat and humidity of Kentucky summers?
I don't mind it. I prefer the heat over the cold any day of the week. But yeah, I mean, it's great for camp, actually. I mean, just getting guys in shape and all that stuff. But it was beautiful today. Nice practicing in the morning. So.
Rich, how do you see the battle for backup quarterback position shaping up?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good competition. I think both guys are worthy of earning the job, and it'll take its time to work itself out. But they both had really good summers. They're both talented guys. I've seen huge strides, probably more than I even expected out of both of them, and it's the fun part of being able to interact with them in the off season in the summertime nowadays and help a guy develop. And I feel like they've made some good strides. It'll be a good fun competition.
Rich, Will Levis
He's a popular man this offseason, ESPN, the Masters, Kentucky Derby.
how do you think he handled all that?
Living the dream.
How do you think he handled all that attention?
I think he handled it well. I would worry about some people when the spotlight gets put on you as quickly as it has with Will, but it's what part of what his greatness will be and is. He's very mature. He's very well thought out in his decision making, and he just has the makeup of what you expect the great ones to have. And I think that he's level-headed and he's got the right mindset, and he's all ball right now. And that's exciting for all of us.
Rich, are you fine line, say, in terms of smart decisions on his part and being physical?
Yeah, that's been a fun challenge since I've been here, and I've been fortunate enough to have to deal with this with other guys, and so it was easier to articulate things and get him to believe in some things, and he's taken it wholeheartedly, and he has approached this summer. He did it in the spring as well to understand the importance of the value of you to the community of Lexington, to this university, and to your teammates versus the 8 yards that you think you can make. And I think he understands that. It's part of his competitiveness, but showing the balance. It's also the same way he'll temper himself to lessen his turnovers as well. It all kind of runs hand in hand.
When you have change on the offensive line, particularly left tackle, how does that influence your game planning? And are you as willing to throw the ball deep?
Yeah, I would say that's the beauty of playing in a pro system and my pro background. So much of what you do in the NFL is game planning pass rushers, your weaknesses on your O-line, and having the flexibility within your protection schemes, your play action schemes, and ways to mask the issues at times if they're there. And that goes for any position, anywhere. And quite honestly, my experience has been the tackles are not that difficult to protect. It's more the interior guys that can be a problem at times. If there's a Aaron Donald across from you or somebody in the SEC, I'm sure that will show up and make that tough. But that's the trick. But that's also the fun part of having a pro-style scheme when you can, and have a quarterback that can be involved with it that can help with that stuff. And I feel confident, and I like the guys we have. I think our tackles are pretty good. I think they're going to surprise people.
How has it been coming alongside of you, Coach Yenser, coming from the same system? How's that affected you guys? How easy has it made the transition?
It's been a big part of my decision to want to be here. I mean, it's to have the transition happen late, to jump into the situation, you need coaches that understand your system, that know how to think, and that can help with other coaches kind of articulate things as well, and you trust that. And he's a very good football coach, and our relationship has been strong for a couple of years now, and to have that has made it much easier, and I think it's made us a better, more efficient teaching staff for sure.
Rich, when you look at what Will did last year, how easily does that translate to what you want to do with your system and your offense?
I mean, I think it translates. He got he had a real good foundation, and more importantly, he got some great experience. I think, like any quarterback, the game slows down the more you play. And at some point last year, I think the Iowa last drive is something I'd really point to. Will made some great plays that under duress and pressure situations where I don't think early in the year he would have pulled them off. Whereas in Tennessee, he had opportunity kind of, and it was tougher. That comes from playing. And that's why guys succeed at the next level. The guys that bank a lot of starts are usually the better players. And I think that's where Will ascend. You see guys like Joe Burrow and historically guys that have gone through that are very talented, like guys like Will. And we're hoping for that same kind of ascension.
You and Will both mentioned in the spring that you guys kind of clicked right away watching film. How will that kind of continue through fall practice up until the season, just you guys continuing to build that?
Yeah, he's earned my respect, and I say this to quarterbacks or anyone, and quite honestly, when they ask me about that relationship, is you always hope that you start out coaching somebody, and then at some point that relationship with the quarterback goes from player coach to you're collaborating. And with Will in his mind and where he's at, I think we've reached the point where we're no longer, I'm coaching him, but this is a collaboration. We're working together. And it's nice to have a guy that can empower like that and really enjoy coaching. And quite honestly, I've had a great deal of fun this summer being with these guys, and it's really made it a lot of fun to be here, and I look forward to seeing some great results hopefully out of it.
How many receivers do you like to use in a game?
It's a good question. I mean, it's going to vary week to week, but we're, to Coach Merrill and Coach Stoops, to their credit, and the whole staff, they've done a really nice job recruiting. I've walked into a very good situation, and we have a lot of unique traded players. We have a very deep tight end room. We have a good group of freshman receivers with some older guys, and they're all a little bit different. So the amount and how you use guys will always differ based on what's best that week, and then having the flexibility with the guys we have. We have a bunch of hybrid guys that are half receiver, half tight end, and that makes it tough on a defense and allows us to be pretty flexible. Plus, they're all pretty smart guys, which allows us to help with the volume and do more things, and I feel like they can handle it.
Remember, they're going to go in with some degree of uncertainty about Chris. How do you feel about the rest of that running back group, and what do you want to see from those guys in the first camp?
Yeah, I mean, I like the group, but it's unproven, and that'll be one of the big things to come out of this camp, and we'll see who earns the right and the ability to touch it the most, and I imagine it'll be a little bit by committee, no matter what. But yeah, I'm excited about the entire group, and again, they're all a little different, which is what we like. We're gonna, you put people in situations to play to their strengths, and so we got route runners and pass catchers. We got some thumpers. We got guys with some speed. Some guys will run you over. So it's a good group.
It's probably too early in camp to ask this question, but have you found your George Kittle of this group yet?
I don't want to point anyone out yet, and I don't want to overhype anything, but I am very, very excited about that tight end room. I mean, it's hard to imagine having a better one. You don't have the luxury of carrying 6 tight ends in the NFL. And I really believe that there's 3 or 4 or 5 in that room that are going to play on Sunday. And they're all a little different. They're all good guys. They all work at their craft, and they're, some guys are pass catchers, some guys will set the edge, some guys can do both. But it's a really, really good group.
Gary, what kind of extra things from your running backs do you expect to get out of them to kind of
stretch things, give you more flexibility on offense?
Yeah, I'd say one of the the big things last year is probably the backs didn't catch a lot of balls. Were my background and the way we're doing things and their versatility allows us to incorporate them probably more. So yeah, I mean those are always ways to get safe catches and let guys that are good in space get yak and create for you. And I feel like we got a group that can do that, and that's one of the ways we'll do it in the medium to short passing game with those guys.
Last one, Mark, did you have one?
Leon last year, I think, came into the year wanting to run a lot of outside zone, and I think the personnel sort of adjusted and ran more inside zone. Are you guys going to make that transition this year, and is that a firm commitment?
I would say that our background is probably different than the guys that were here last year. I mean, the Rams and what they do is built a certain way, and that's probably was their background and what Coach Wolf knew and all that. But what we do is, we're always going to play the strength of our players, and we're going to do what's right against any given scheme we're going to see, and we're going to have some versatility to our run scheme. But in the end, the starting point will always be wide zone, and to be effective and everything else we want to do, that's where we'll begin. So it will be a part of what we do.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll get Coach White here momentarily. Coach White, and we'll go ahead and get started with questions.
See, to have Chris Oates around the program again, constantly, just being around the guys, what does that do for you and the teammates to have that relationship continue?
It means the world. I mean, that's what this program's built on. And it's built on relationships, and it's built on continuing to build those relationships. And when players are not necessarily always in the building, whether they move on to another job after they graduate, whatever the case may be, to have them back and a part of the program, and to watch Chris's progress. To see the steps that he made down in Florida and where he is now, like that, it's so encouraging for all of us. And he's an inspiration. We've highlighted that, in our defensive meetings. Plays that pop up when you're doing overlap film or teach tapes, and you see him out there playing, and you're like, guys, understand, like this. Don't ever get numb to when we break down on 22. This is what it's about. And so just continue to let the young guys that didn't necessarily know Chris, when he was here, get to know him and know the personality he is and know his family. And so it's always awesome to have him around as much as he is.
Brett Warner talked about how JJ last offseason was obviously coming off a major injury, and even though he played the whole year, that's still a long process. What kind of difference do you notice in him coming into this season knowing that he's fully recovered and ready to go?
You see a confidence. When you get a major injury, especially lower body, even though you're cleared to play, and obviously he was cleared to play last year, and he played the entire season, played every game, played really well for us, you're not fully yourself. We always say, especially like a knee, usually takes 16 months. And you could see it in spring, the confidence that he had in spring ball. Took the knee brace off, was able to play full speed. You don't feel any hindrance, and you can see that that twitch is back, that pop he had pre-injury. He is between spring, summer, first day of practice today, you see him brimming with confidence. And he's playing fast. He's communicating out there. I mean, he's a guy that's very much in control, of his position right now. And that's a great thing to see, because even when he was playing at a really high level there in 2020, right before the injury, he didn't have the command of the position that he has now. So now you put that athleticism together with the command of the position, a focus and an understanding of, hey, this could be a big opportunity, a big year for me, and we'll expect big things from him. And I am not gonna shy away, and he will not shy away from understanding that we need him to take that next step and be a guy. Like, he has got to be a difference maker for us on defense.
What do you like about that group of defensive backs, adding the transfer portal? There's clearly a point of emphasis after spring.
It was, and I think we've got depth there. And, obviously it was just the first day of practice, but I think there's veterans, that we picked up that have played a lot of football. And you think of Kedron being starting for 4 years in the SEC. Just a whole bunch of snaps. He's smart. He's savvy. How quickly he picked up our defense. And same with Zion back there at safety. I mean, so and then Jordan, his athleticism out there. Like, you feel like we feel bigger. We feel athletic back there, and we've got a mix of new guys, old guys, and the old guys have really pulled in the younger guys to get them, caught up in our defense. So I feel strongly about that group. Now, do they have a lot to prove? Absolutely. And they've got a lot to prove to themselves, to the coaching staff, to everybody. But I think this group is going to do it, and I think the really nice thing about, I think the defense as a whole, but that unit in particular, they've all checked their egos at the door. And they've got a chip on their shoulder. Hey, listen, don't think that they didn't hear all the noise that everybody talks about. And I have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion that group's going to do a lot of good things for us this year.
Speaking of, how do you feel about your interior defensive line?
Yeah, that might be, the place that there's going to be a lot of competition in there. And there's going to have to be a lot of guys that rotate through and a lot of guys that get snaps. This is not a situation right now where, you've got a guy like Josh Pascal where you're just going to put a huge workload on him, and you're just going to let him go, and this is going to be more of a rotational group. But there's some talent in there, and as long as we can continue to build on that, keep them fresh. Again, that's another position. I think we're deeper. Maybe we don't have the headliners that we've had in the past up there, but I think we can go deeper into the rotation than we've been able to in the past.
Right. You talked a lot about the secondary, but one of the new guys, Alex Afari, Mark's mentioned him a lot. What does he bring to the table early on?
Oh, I mean, to walk in as a freshman and to move with his size and his length, he's got a rare blend. And so finding ways to help him be successful early is going to be a big task, for me and the entire defensive staff, because when you get special athletes, you have to find a way to let them contribute. Just similar to how, Trevin found a niche. Maybe it's not going to be, 70 snaps a game, but you have to find snaps early and often in the season. Special teams will be a big deal there as well, until they find a comfort level. Because listen, the bottom line is when you come in as a freshman, there's a lot of moving parts going real fast. And we're installing a lot of defense. They're installing a lot of offense. So things get jumbled quick. And so you got to try to narrow it down, narrow the focus, give them little pieces that the freshmen can handle. Because we do. We have a talented freshman class. The future is bright. But I think, this defensive unit has a chance to do something special. because we have a good mixture of old guys and young guys, and old guys that have, again, they've checked their egos at the door and they're pulling along young guys. There's going to be a lot of competition. I don't know what that starting 11 is going to look like, come September 3rd, but we got 31 days to figure that out.
Fred, you mentioned Josh Pascal, and obviously you move on from him, but how do you replace that level of leadership that he gave you?
Well, I think in most years and in most cases, you're like, man, that would be a huge void. But then you look up, and we had our opening meeting last night as a defense, and we've got, people would argue that 2018 defense may or may not be one of the top 1 or 2 defenses in Kentucky history. Well, we got 3 guys that play significant snaps on that defense in Ty Asian, DeAndre Square, Jordan Wright. Like, they played significantly on that defense. And what they've done from 18, 19, 20, 21 to have guys that played on the 18 defense have started as many games as they have over 4 years. And one of the benefits of COVID, to be able to get those guys back for an extra year, you're walking in with leaders that I was counting on heavy last year, and they were great leaders, and they get another go round. And then you have Jaquez Jones, and then you bring in a guy like Kedron, and like, there are a lot of guys that can lead from the front in that room. And so I don't think the void's going to be nearly, as drastic as you would think. It's not going to be this big vacuum. Where did it all go? Now, if you had lost all those guys, I think that would have been a bigger issue. But we're able to have, essentially 5 super seniors on the team, on the defense.
We're at the UK rosters, right? It looks like a lot of the interior linemen lost. Oxendine is like 20 pounds lighter. Is that something you all encourage, and what will be the benefits of those guys being lighter?
Yeah, I think, Coach Ed and Coach Hill do an unbelievable job. And I think sometimes people make too much of weight. It's about strength, it's about power. And if you can generate power, then you're going to be successful. And even Josh, like when we moved Josh down, and then he tried to balloon up a little bit, and he was like, this isn't me, and then he reined it back down, and then he played his best ball. Sometimes just weight alone is not good. It's too heavy for your legs. You can't play fast. You can't play explosive. I think guys have leaned out a little bit. They're as strong as they were at heavier weights, but I think they're more powerful. They're more explosive. Guys, have been putting up really good numbers, in the weight room. From a testing standpoint, so I'm excited about that, and it also allows you to, one, we can anchor in, but 2, now those guys can move. We can have them play from an A gap to a B gap all the way out to a C. It gives you some flexibility as a play caller and a coordinator when you've got some guys that can, you're not just an anchor inside.
Aside from his weight, what have you seen from Oxendine, and what do you expect from him this year?
Obviously, another one that, from a position standpoint, a position group, he's got to be the leader in that group. And he's trained so hard to get back to the point he was when he got injured. And again, it's early, and you got to be smart whenever you have injuries, but he looks explosive. Like his weight is down, but he looks stronger. He's looser than he's ever been in the past. He's a guy that's brimming with confidence, and we can move him in a lot of different places. Like I would say this, he doesn't look anything like what he looked like in high school. And that's not a bad thing. Like he did some good things in high school, but you watch some of his tape and you're like, okay, he could play nose and he could, play some of the boundary. Right now, where he is and how he's transformed his body, he could play any one of the 3 up front. I'm not going to, but you could stand him up and you could play him at jack. Like he's moving that well right now.
Hey folks, thank you very much, and I'll have Will Levis here momentarily.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have Will available for a few minutes, and this will be his only interview opportunity today. We'll have him available at other times as well.
Is this, can I have this?
Yeah, you can have it. Yeah,
Well, what's it about Aaron Brown and summer workouts when you see him a little bit that kind of gets you excited?
Just his explosiveness, and even just in the 7-on-7 and kind of OTA work we done, his just change of direction and his just playmaking ability is already pretty special. And he made some flashes even just today in his first practice, and we're looking forward to seeing him continue to develop throughout the summer, leading up to the first week.
Receiver group as a whole, a lot of young talent. What do you see out of those young guys, and how quickly are they learning the system that you guys are in?
I think they saw the opportunity with the hole that was left after last year of the guys that went on, and just the lack of experience we had. They knew that they were going to be able to compete and have opportunities to show that they can be players for us. And but other than that, what I've been most impressed of has been just Coach Woody's and the whole room's ability to just kind of learn from each other and buy into the whole team's philosophy, and like not really get too competitive and just use it as just a motivation to get each of themselves better as players, which I've really appreciated. And I mean, we got guys across the board, and I really like our depth at the position for sure.
You and Rich both talked in the spring about how your guys' connection really clicked right when you got here watching film. How has that continued, and how will that kind of continue to grow here in fall camp, just you and Rich?
Yeah, I think just as he kind of sees me take reps in practice and understands how my brain works, I think he already has a good idea of that, and understands how I'm able to see things and how to put me and teach me in the best way possible to help me get through whatever play we're talking about. And it's just going to get better with experience, just like I'm just going to get better with the more reps I can get within this offense and just as a quarterback in general. But that's what I think makes him pretty special. I think that he's able to coach all of us on an individual level differently, kind of based on how we're able to each process things individually, which has been really cool to see.
Well, how good could this tight end group be?
Really good, really good. We've just been mixing in a bunch of guys. We don't have like a kind of set like 1, 2, 3, 4 like depth chart. We have like 4 or 5 guys that we can rely on and are able to do all the things we ask them to. I think it's going to be more so figuring out which guys are the best at the certain things that we need for them to do, whether it's different routes or different blocking opportunities. But I mean, we got personnel sets with 2, 3 tight ends in at a time, and you can only do that if you have the guys on the roster to be confident enough to put them out in the field. So I really like where we're at with the tight ends, and they just got to keep working, and definitely going to be a big part of the offense this year.
Will, how would you compare day one of camp last year to day one today?
I think that the biggest difference between last year and this year is that this year we've been able to have more opportunities on field, both on field and in meetings with the coaches throughout the summer, with the new rules and the ability to go out there and do 7-on our own. I feel like even though we had the spring with the offense, we still would have been in a good spot going into the first day of camp, but like we just were ready to just kind of get rolling as soon as we stepped on the field. There was no kind of learning curve for any of us. All of us knew exactly what was going to be asked of us. We had the scripts. We knew what type of plays, what installs would be going in for that for this first few days of practice, and I feel like we've been ready to go for a while now, and the guys just put it all together and did a good job on their first day. Coach Stoop said it was his best first day in however many years he's been here, and I'd say it's hard to disagree with. I don't know how the years before me went, but it was definitely better than last year.
Well, Coach Stoop said that you're tough on yourself, so he doesn't worry about you getting the big head. Why are you so tough on yourself?
I mean, you got to be your number one supporter, number one person most confident in you, but you also got to be your number one critic. You're the only one who knows why you make the decisions you did or what you're capable of physically, and you have to judge yourself on your performance based on what you know about yourself. Nobody can tell you anything about yourself. They're not you. They don't go through the same things you do each and every day. So I mean, if I keep that same mentality of both having the utmost confidence in myself, telling myself and being my number one supporter, but then also being the one to give myself honest, constructive criticism, I feel like I can just improve and be better one way or the other by being both of those types of people for myself.
Well, because there's not a proven backup quarterback, have they asked you or sort of instructed you to be careful with some of the running? Can you do that once you get in the game, or are you just going to be here?
Yeah, I'm just going to let my instincts take over for sure. I know that my body and my health to this team is more important than anything else, and I'm definitely not like a traditional prototype quarterback with what I'm able to do in the run game and what I'm able to do physically. And I know that there's opportunities where I can use that to my advantage, but it's more so just a matter of knowing when the risk is worth it, and definitely looking forward to sliding a little more this year.
So. That you have such depth at the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we're just so much deeper this year than last year at all positions, not just tight end. But I mean, it's just confidence in the guy's ability. If one guy goes down or one guy needs a breather, I'm never really thinking like, hey, I got to stay away from giving this guy a chance, you know? Like, especially through camp, I'm looking forward to having confidence in all the guys, regardless of who's in, and giving them opportunities to make plays. I think that's one thing that I need to kind of keep a focus on throughout camp is figuring out who our dudes are and letting them make those contested catches. And we saw some guys make some awesome plays today, and we just got to keep doing that, keep feeding our dudes, and see who's able to do what.
You spent some time with Tim Tebow. And what were your conversations with them? I know you look at yourself as being as physical like him.
Yeah. So I mean, most people I've talked to about that, they'll tell me to kind of not be as physical, like slide more and protect myself. He kind of took the opposite approach. He was telling me the story about, I think, against Florida State. You know, that game where he came up and he had that, like, all the red all over him, and he was just like one of those classic pictures of him in his career. But he said it was like a 3rd and 15. He like rolled out, just lowered his shoulder, like just demolished the dude, fell forward for the first down. And he said that his favorite feeling in his career always was getting picked up by his offensive linemen, because it's like just the dudes who you try to earn their respect by how you treat them and how you operate as a unit, and you know that that they got love in their hearts for you when they're willing to chase down and get everyone away from you and pick you up every time. So I mean, it's just little things like that. You don't, like, as a quarterback, you're not supposed to do those things. You're not supposed to be physical. You're not supposed to have the body to be able to do those things. So you're in a unique position that when you do that, it brings a little more hyper energy than really any other position can to the team. So there's definitely some positives to it, and it's an attribute of mine that I'm very proud of and that I'm going to continue to use smartly and effectively. But it was cool to hear someone who's been through the same thing I have talk about that.
We got time for a couple more. We'll start with Brett.
Well, you're obviously going into this with a little uncertainty about Chris's situation. What do you feel about the rest of that running back group, and what do you want to see from them?
Yeah, whoever's going to be, they're going to be able to contribute for us. And like I said, we have depth at all positions. Not only depth, but we have great experience at the running back position as well. I think the young dudes like Lavelle have stepped up and really took a just passion for learning this system and knowing that they could get more opportunities this year. I mean, the additions of Ramon and we have depth all across the board and great experience, and I think getting them involved in the passing game too is going to be something I'm looking forward to. I got a lot of them catches in the spring, and looking forward to just feeding them the rock throughout camp.
Alex?
As many changes on the offensive line as you've had, particularly on the blind side, how does that influence what you do as a quarterback and what you attempt to do?
It doesn't. It can't really. Yeah, it can't change my thought process at all. If I'm thinking about who's in an offensive line or what's going on, then that's just one more thing I have to put on my plate, and I really just have to use my instincts and just feel in the pocket to understand when things are breaking down or when there are moments where I might need to be escaping or moving up. But I have full confidence in our unit, and no matter who's up there, if they're the number one players in the country, they're still going to get beat every so often. You're going to have to rely on those instincts and be able to move in the pocket and step up and make those throws. So it's just something you can't really think about.
Alex?
You had the chance to golf with Tim Couch. What was that experience like? What did you gain from that round?
Yeah, that was great. I talked to Tim a few times, and we'd been talking about wanting to get out on the course, and we finally did. For one, I mean, I think I'm in pretty good shape, but he put me to shame. Like that was one thing I took away from it for sure. But no, he's been in the position that I'm in now, and to kind of pick his brain about how to kind of approach the process and focus on what really matters, focusing on the team and not really thinking about any of the individual stuff, which I think I've done a great job of. But other than that, just being someone for me that I can just kind of know I can reach out to and just just talk to, whether it's about football or anything else. And that's what I really appreciated about him and the time I had with him, above all else.
Nobody.
Tim's a good golfer. He beat me. I mean, I'm like an 18. He's like a 7 or an 8. So he didn't play his best round. I had a birdie before he did, so that was good. But
Nobody tell Tony we were going to sneak in 2 more. Dominic first.
Cool.
Will, obviously the team's been outspoken about the goals of trying to win the SEC. You guys picked behind Georgia. You played in that game last year. Just from your vantage point, what does it take to try to close the gap and get to where you guys want to be?
I think it's just consistency. I think we showed flashes of being able to put drives together and put sequences of plays together against them. But I mean, we can't really just focus on just them. We gotta just take care of business and trust our development as a team. Be as physical as possible, because you know that a team like them is always going to punch you in the mouth. But if you punch them in the mouth back, that's how you gain respect, and that's how you keep things. You keep the edge on your side, and we just got to come in with a positive attitude and just utmost confidence in our ability. Like, we have the guys. It's not like we are unmatched on a talent level. Like, we have the dudes to go up against those teams and beat them, and we just need to believe that, trust in our coaches, and execute the game plan.
Last one, Keith.
With all you've been through this summer with NIL, the way the season went last year, I mean, I'm not sure I could handle everything at my age. How are you doing that? And who do you rely on to help you with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, first and foremost, my parents have been a great resource for me to just debrief with and talk to and get their opinions. I value their opinions as much as anyone else in this world, and they've been able to help throughout that process. And in terms of NIL, I mean, I've just had fun with it. I just want to make sure that I'm not spending too much time on it, and I've kept the mindset of football first, and as long as I'm doing everything and keeping in mind that my actions are in line with the goals that we have as a team, and I don't mind taking that extra hour or two a week of free time I have to work on those other things. But yeah, I mean, it's a matter of staying scheduled, having a good time management. I had just booked Google Calendar like all summer, it seemed like, but it was exciting, and I needed to know that I had to leave myself some time for me and to just relax and not worry about anything, whether it's football or that other stuff. But most importantly, keeping football at the forefront of my mind.
Thanks, everybody. We'll let Will
Thanks, guys.
skate first, and then we'll let everybody else know.